the fight. You're on your own. Not anymore with Init Esports.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, good folks. It's a pleasure to be with you as always. I'm your host, Sagar Bakshi, and of course, in the booth with me is none other than Sai Ramesh. Sai, how are you doing today?
Very happy to be here, Sagar. Thank you so much for having me on board. Really excited. I mean, I'll let you introduce the series, but yeah, this is something that we've all been waiting for, and the build up to this has definitely been worth it, I think.
Absolutely. It's been a long off season that we've had where we haven't really been doing a lot. We've wrapped up Screen to Speed, we've wrapped up Team America, but as one chapter closes, a new one begins and is just on the horizon. Here with the NASCAR Truck Series, we have a lot of excitement coming up very, very soon. This is going to be the first of our attempts going at the NASCAR Truck Series, and of course we have a wonderful lineup of tracks and a wonderful length that we're going to be running full length races and around a couple of great tracks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the calendar, shall we? From Daytona to Charlotte, Indianapolis, Bristol, Texas, Iowa, the Glen, Vegas, Talladega, and Homestead, Miami to finish things off in December. We're going to be running an excellent 10-round championship with, of course, Bubba Meyer's paint scheme on the line. For today, though, it's going to be Daytona, the 2.5-mile racetrack. That was founded in 1959. The road course was first used in 62. That's where you might have seen us typically at Daytona, if you're familiar with the Screen to Speed movement and the Team America Talent Scout. That's where we've been at before on the road course variation, but now it's back to the oval. 26 to 28 feet of elevation change, all of that happening all alongside the high banking. And the drivers are going to have to commit to all of the banking that's available to them to carry as much speed as possible. And then the tri-oval, the four corners, the tri-oval's banked at just 18 degrees. Give a big shout out and thanks to our partners, of course, at Regadget, our title sponsor. If you're ever interested in getting a new PC, a refurbished PC even, to save a little bit of coin in your coin purse at the end of the day, you can get the Phoenix Bundle, which includes a high-def, wide 32-inch monitor, the peripherals, the accessories, the computer, of course. The Phoenix Bundle comes in at just $1,500 and can elevate your game to the next level. Make sure you check out Regadget and use code INIT at checkout to get a discount code on your way out the door. Thank you very much to our partners at Regadget for all of their promotional support throughout all of our events here across Init. And of course, we'd like to thank all of our partner sponsors at Roku, Esports Edge, eClutch, AK Esports UK, and of course our newest and latest and greatest, Bubba Meyer's Paints as well. Thank you very much to all of our sponsors for your continued support here with Init Esports. We have a lot of events coming up near and dear to me in the future, so keep your eye on the announcements channel here on the Init Esports Discord To check in to see when the latest and greatest event will pop up next, we have GT events coming up across Team America, the Screen to Speed, and of course the NASCAR Truck event also. Well, Simon, with just a few moments left in the qualifying session, how do you fare for Daytona?
I have to say it's probably one of the best racetracks we could have chosen as the start of a NASCAR season. It's a very appropriate racetrack to start off on. But interestingly enough, it's going to be very different from all the other races we've done in the build-up to this series. In most of the other shorter tracks, it's always been about tire conservation and keeping the tires happy throughout. Daytona is really not about that. Daytona is about maintaining the draft, keeping the momentum up. It's less about tires, more about positioning on track. So right off the bat, to the start of the season, it's going to test drivers' abilities to read each other and figure out the perfect time to gain those points at the end of each stage.
Absolutely. It will be a challenge for the drivers to get these coveted points as we get to the end of the stage. And speaking of the end of a stage, the qualifying just coming to a conclusion now, and we'll get over to the results. How's that sound, Sai?
Sounds good. Let's see how the results stack up.
Aaron Brown took the pole position in front of Peter Helmbro, and then Javi Sierra in third. Aiden Hawthorne in fourth, Ted Edwards, John Rousseau, Marcus Hagman further down the order than he'd like to be, I'm sure, for this start of the session. Morgan Stringer, Martin J. Young, Jason Truckee, Luke Byrne, Tom Bryan, and Matthew Fassenmacher. That's going to round out the P13.
It's a solid grid, 13 drivers, some returning names from our exhibition races leading up to the series. We have some new members as well on the grid, so it's a mixed bag. We don't really know who's going to win, and I think that's the best way to go into it. It's anyone's game here at Daytona.
Absolutely, for certain. As the drivers get gridded up 2 by 2, Noah's Ark formation, let's take a look at the starting grid and the order in which we'll see the drivers take it. It'll be Aaron Brown and Peter Helmbro on that first row. Then starting on the second row, it's going to be Javi Sierra and Aiden Hawthorne in that Duncan number 8. On row number 3, Ted Edwards in the Dr. Pepper machine and John Rousseau in the 59. The 12 of Marcus Hagman and Morgan Stringer in the 91 M&M's machine. Then we have Martin J. Young in a blacked out number 4 and Jason Shockey in the Jet Fab 46. 95 for Luke Byrne, and then Tom Bryant bringing in the 42. And then Matthew Fassenmacher bringing up the rear in the number 45.
Like you had said, one of the names which we were surprised to see that far down in the order was Marcus Hagman, one of the drivers who was consistently at the front of the pack in some of our previous NASCAR Trucks races. So he's no new, he's not new to the NASCAR grid, but maybe he just didn't get quite the right quali lap that he wanted. Although it's not too far off pace. Remember, in Daytona, the quali laps are going to be very close to each other. So the possibility of being a couple of spots away from where you'd like to be is very real. But this is a long race, Sagar, 100 laps split into 3 different sections, essentially 2 stages, with the final run being 50 laps long. So there's plenty of room to work with, a lot of laps for anything to happen. It doesn't really matter where you start. You have a lot of points up for grab and a lot of ways to get up there.
Absolutely. And a couple of stage breaks for the drivers to get a little reprieve from the race action as well. And we'll take a couple laps of reprieve ourselves behind the pace car before we go green flag running. And one of the things that has been tried and true about the Init Esports NASCAR Truck Series has been the green flag stints that we've seen. They have just been consistent. Rarely and few far in between have we seen a lot of caution, so expect that bar in the progress meter at the top of the timing tower will need to stay fluttered with green bars throughout this event.
Yeah, let's hope so. 3 stages, 2 of which are 25 laps long. So hopefully we have fully green conditions throughout those stages. It's always nice to see a bunch of cars, a pack of cars going at it at a speedway. And we really don't want any yellow flags to be slowing that down. However, of course, auto yellow flags have been equipped. So if there are any spins and the game detects there is a hazard on track, it will throw the caution. So that's just something to keep in mind as we get ready for the start, Sagar.
Let's take the green flag. Here it is. Green, green, green is in the air, powered by Re-Gadget. And it's going to be a good start for Aaron Brown and Peter Helmborough in the start of this one. It's going to be a long break to the 25th lap. We expect the drivers to be able to pull out 35 laps of running.
Already see the number 8 of Hawthorne getting very feisty off the exit of turn number 1 as he backed off a little bit as they got back onto the back straight. But you can already see him moving around. He wants to get up there. He's bump drafting with the number 77 up ahead of him, trying to find a way through potentially. Remember, if you're at the front of this pack, you have a big responsibility to maintain lanes, to keep switching, to kind of juggle your options with all the drivers behind trying to get ahead of you. So it's not something you want to do unless you're completely confident of holding that. Seems like a pretty clean lap for the first time around here. Aaron Brown getting ahead of Helmborough as they cross the start-finish line and start lap number 2.
Great head-to-head battle right here between Helmborough and Aaron Brown. They stay stuck in it. Javi Sierra weaving around a little bit, perhaps getting a little loose coming out of 2, but the 59 is there. John Rousseau ready to pick up the pieces, and Javi Sierra starts trickling backwards further down the order into 5th place. And look at the bump there from Truckee in the 46 into that M&M machine. The gap has opened up to 2 truck lengths between Truckee and Morgan Stringer.
A little bit too close for comfort there as the car spaced out a little, but I think everyone's starting to get back together. We have one car way at the back, Luke Byrne backing off a little bit. He might have to pick up the pace lest he falls out of that draft. As it stands, however, it seems like he is sticking with the pack. It's about half a second. Not too bad. I think once you drop to about 8/10, that's when you start losing out as he closes the gap slightly. You can see the conditions there, 33 degrees on track, not essentially the coolest conditions out there, but like we said, tires are not really the concern here. It's more about how much fuel you're burning and how well you can deal with drivers that are bump drafting you. You see the 79 of Javi Sierra pushing Helmborough, who's dropped back from the front row down to P4, P3. So he's backed off a little bit. The M&M's car, out of nowhere, has made his way up to the front. So Stringer up there trying to give Aaron Brown a run for his money.
Stringer and Brown, but right now it's Truckee and Sierra. Aiden Hawthorne getting his elbows out a little bit in that number 8 machine. Keep your eyes peeled on his pink Duncan machine. I have a feeling like his down 3 positions right now can turn inverted here very shortly around the streets of Daytona.
That outside lane, every time when we go through turn number 1 and 2, turns 1 and 2, the outside lane always seems to be battling it out a little harder than the ones on the inside lane. I think the ones on the bottom lane are more worried about not clipping the apron. Remember, look at the banking there. Some of the steepest banking in the entire calendar, apart from Talladega, of course. So you really don't want to clip that apron, and I think that's what the drivers on the bottom lane are trying not to do. You see that Dr. Pepper livery, the car just passing past Truckee over here. That is Edwards in the number 80 car. So yeah, a lot of squabbling going on down in the middle of this pack. Out in front, Aaron Brown, blissfully unaware of the chaos behind him. Well, I'd say chaos, but it's really just hard racing, isn't it? Aaron Brown happy to be leading the pack way up front. Stringer, however, is not giving any space for him to relax too much with 20 laps to go for this stage. Remember, the winner of the stage gets 10 points and it goes down all the way to 1 point for the top 10 that finish stage number 1.
It's looking all right for Javi Sierra as he tries to stitch together fast lap after fast lap. Javi Sierra currently running in 6th position. Trying to stitch something together in that Toyota truck on the high groove He seems to be the only one who's occupying it right now. Sierra currently all by his lonesome, but will that change over the course of things as he gets a little bit of a help there from the number 4, perhaps, per maybe? But no, the 4 stays slotted in. In fact, he gets slotted in front of by the blue machine. I think that's going to be none other than Ted Edwards up the road.
Probably need to also keep an eye on the 59 of Russo. He's been making a few moves. We saw him aggressively slot down into the bottom lane as they came out of the tri-oval, and he's starting to make his move right now. You see how close he is getting up to that car right ahead of him. That is the number 80 of Edwards right in front of him as we ride on board now with Russo and see what he does as we go through turn number 1 once again. You see that outside lane? Despite it having less number of cars, they're still holding their own. Sierra, of course, dropped back to the back of the pack, but it's only a matter of a few tenths because everyone's kind of shuffling for position. The average speed of both lanes, as it stands, basically the same. So at this point, you're better off just choosing the lane that's a little bit more easy for you to deal with than just looking at raw pace.
And you have to start thinking about the long-term dividends. Yes, we do have the stage to contend with at the end of the evening. 10 points is 10 points after all, right? But you have to start looking forward to the 100-lap run. You have to start looking at the halfway point of this event as well, setting yourself up for that third stage. But if you're short-sighted and you're trying to consume your tires early on or consume fuel early on in this race, guarantee you might not make it to the checkered flag. All 13 drivers right now still stuck in this beautiful pack battle.
You see Matthew Fenstermacher in the 45 way at the back. He has probably the best view of the entire pack, and you see him constantly switching between the lanes, just riding the draft. And I think it's very smart that he's doing that right now, because you usually see this when you get close to the end of stages. Cars that are way at the back that have the best pick of the lanes, they're usually the ones that get the best slingshot over the last couple of laps to find their way out towards the front of the pack. And you see that probably what the number 45 is doing. He's biding his time right now, but he's by no means slow. He's not a driver that seems to be backing off, out of his own control. He's definitely has his car under control. I think he has something else up his sleeve. Things will get clearer in another 10 laps time. I think that's when drivers will start making their moves to line themselves up for potentially 10 points on the board. It's not just a long race, it's a long championship. And if you want to win it, you need to focus on some of these small victories as well.
Speaking of small victories, Stringer in his timeline gaining 6 positions across the opening 4 laps, driving that M&M's truck to provisional second place for the stage break as we just about get to the halfway point of it.
Potentially seeing a third lane form there. We saw some 3-wide action going out of turn number 4, but it looks like everyone's slotted back to their routine lineups, so to speak. One driver there almost going under the apron. I think this is probably the only part of the racetrack where they have some space to breathe and reposition, because everywhere else it's just battles all around. Getting back into the tri-oval for the 10th time as we wrap up lap number 10. Aaron Brown still holding out front.
I'm a little concerned with John Rousseau right now. The driver keeps on weaving around the racetrack, going from high to low line. I have a feeling like that could boil over to be a mistake. And he keeps on going down low to the apron. Check out the 4 of Martin J. Young following in that trail as well. Stringer running in second. Hawthorne in third. Ted Edwards, well, he's in fourth. Number 59 still battles it out with Helmbro in the 77. Marcus Hagman.
The outside lane.
Go ahead.
I was just about to say the outside lane, like I mentioned, is constantly battling a lot more than the inside lane. They have a little bit more space to play with, but they also have the wall right on the outside. You see that once again, a big big movement there from the number 80. So yeah, cars are starting to slide around a bit too much. And we have another 3 wide situation here. Well, 2 sets of 3 wide cars potentially as we get into turn number 2. Once again, that's a 4 wide over there, as cars are really starting to now struggle to find space in what is not really a very wide racetrack if you think about it.
Especially coming through the banking. Here we go. 3 abreast, the 80 caught in the middle. Ted Edwards, the meat of the sandwich, now lurches forward between the 77 of Helmbro and Marcus Hagman. Down to the low side is Martin J. Young. He is there, and he's going to take control of this battle pack, but the 3 wide has left them separated from the top 4.
Edwards just plummeting down the pack. So that's what happens if you don't stick to one lane. Remember, Edwards is the one who decided to make that third middle lane, and it has cost him big time. However, not everything is lost. Remember, this is the point where the second pack of drivers, they all have to now start working together, because you see the 4 drivers up ahead starting to run away. If they don't get together and start chasing them down, those 4 points 10, 9, 8 and 7 for the top 4s, those are no longer up for grabs. It's going to be a battle for picking up the crumbs, essentially, for the end of stage number 1. Just over 10 laps left, by the way, for stage 1. So in another 9 to 10 minutes time, we will have our first set of points on the board for the championship.
And a good haul of points indeed. Just across the line one more time. We'll get lap number 13 wrapped up and head on to lap 14. And look at that progress bar. As I said, it was going to say flooded with nothing but green bars, and it has been, at least up until this point. Of course, that gives it the commentator's curse, and any caution that comes out will, of course, be blamed on me. Look at the battle in the background between Helmbro and Marcus Hagman. The 12 and the 77, nose to tail. Javi Sierra and Jason Shockey exchanging blows right now as they go toe to toe. Coming into the banking across the stripe, it will be the 77 leading the 12, and then Javi Sierra is going to be a spear of the second battle pack.
And the 80 continuing to plummet down. Edwards now at the back of the pack, still favoring that high lane. And I'm not quite sure what he's trying to achieve by sticking it out up near the wall, because you're not really saving too much on the tires, which, by the way, have a perfect opportunity to change at the end of the stage. But I think it's a bit too late now for him to claw his way back up, given that this second pack has somewhat managed to now get back up front. So now Edwards is a firm almost half a second off the next car of Fenstermacher up ahead. So this is not looking good for Edwards for stage number 1. But yeah, I think I should bite my tongue. I hope he somehow finds a way now to get up ahead, because he does not have a lot of time left to do it. Once again, sticking to that high lane. Not too much of a driver. I'm not too much of a NASCAR truck driver either in iRacing, but I don't know, Sagar, do you have any idea what exactly Edwards is trying to achieve with that specific lane?
I think he's just trying something different than what the rest of the field is doing, and I think Tom Bryan is trying that solution as well. He says, well, if everybody's going to run single file down low, I could potentially get a little side draft and carry enough speed around the outside of my fellow combatants. It works out well because he gets one done on Peter Helmbro on the here and now.
Edwards now catching on to that outside lane, as does the number 45 of Matthew. So now the outside lane is starting to pick up pace. And once again now, Sagar, everyone's bunched back up. This is what we like to see. Pack racing in a super speedway situation. And this is what everyone's doing very cleanly, by the way. The 79, a big run there. Someone slowed down massively. The number 8 of Hawthorne dropping from the front of the pack. We might have to take another look at that, but it seems like there was some sort of contact up ahead and a bunch of drivers had to lift off, causing basically a knock-on, a concertina effect all the way down to the back of the pack.
Not seeing anything pop up for Hawthorne except for him dropping like a stone those 5 positions, just seemingly given up for free on that occasion. Morgan
Once again,
Stringer now
stretched
chases
out like an
down
accordion.
Aaron Bound for P1, and Martin Young is in that first trio. And then we have the young Luke Byrne and the number 95 battling it out with the 77 of Helmborough.
This looks like a good battle brewing up here. The 77 starting to bump draft almost Luke into turn number 3, that is. And this is where the racetrack starts getting a little bit more narrow. You need to be really careful as you get off of turn number 4. This is where you have to position yourself, all the cars, taking that beautifully. Another car we need to look at is the 59, a car that was very aggressive from the start of this race. Now he has a bit of breathing room, but John Russo did lose quite a lot of positions as he dropped down the pack a couple of laps ago. So he's going to have to now pick it back up. He doesn't have support from the back at the moment and doesn't really have the drafting train up front. So he's a bit of a sitting duck as it stands. 5 laps to go at the end of this lap for stage number 1 to finish off.
5 to go at the end of the lap as Brown leads Stringer by just a nose hair. And then the 4 of Martin Young is there as well. The 77 trailing in 4th position. John Rousseau in 5th. Marcus Hagman in 6th. Aiden Hawthorne in 7th. Javi Sierra in 8th. Luke Byrne, well, he's battling it out with Tom Bryant for 9th and 10th. Ted Edwards bringing up the rear in 11th. Matthew Fassenmacher in 13th now. Jason Tronky promotes himself up to 12th.
So it looks like Tom Bryant finally stopped trying to create a second lane on the outside and has opted to drop back down into the inside lane. The only 2 on the outside are behind him. So yeah, those are the only 2 drivers still trying to make the outside lane work. Surprisingly, still sticking with the pack. So maybe that draft is not really as powerful as we think it is, given that 2 cars are still able to run up there. Or it's either that or the side draft that they're inducing on the bottom lane is just strong enough to keep them in contention. Seems to be a combination of both. Luke Byrne trying to make a move and slot back into that lane in front of Tom Bryant. Unfortunately for him, a car is right up ahead. That is Javi Sierra on the 79, right ahead of Tom Bryant, blocking his path. And this is where drivers are going to start working their strategies. You already see different drivers moving around. This is where you start setting up that slingshot for the last couple of laps to get up ahead.
Absolutely. Lap 21. 5 to go left in the stage as the leaders cross the line. Lee Brown and Stringer, then Young.
Very surprising to still see everyone saying single file. Maybe it's a bit preemptive. Maybe it's going to take a couple of more laps. Something to keep in mind, of course, is pit lane will be closed from, I believe, the start of lap number 24. And obviously, the stage ends just when we finish lap 25, the start of lap 26. So for 2 laps, the pit lane is going to be closed. So if anyone wants to make a quick pit stop now, sacrifice some stage points, but get a pit stop out of their way if they want to do it, they have to make that decision in the next 2 laps, actually in the next 1.5 laps as it stands, as they round out this corner and get back onto the start-finish straight. 2 lanes now firmly formed. This is where drivers start picking the sort of line they want to stick with, the sort of strategies they want to employ, the sort of slowing down techniques they're going to use, the side drafts that they want to get working for them. Cars all the way on the outside, 1 car in the wall. That is Luke Byrne, out of contention for this stage, having dropped more than a second off the last member of the pack.
Luke sacrificing the stage there for perhaps the longevity of that truck. He falls back and lets the leaders decide and squabble for the 10 points for the stage now. Helmborough on that high side is consumed by it. but he's not getting the help that he needs or deserves from behind. His fellow countryman, Marcus Hagman, not giving him the push right now. That's going to drive him up to the front row with 2 left to go.
As it stands, looks like Aaron Brown's got this firmly under control unless Stringer decides to pull off an unexpected move at the exit of this corner. So what you really want to do is set yourself up to get ahead, I believe, at the end of this lap, so then you have control through the final lap, because making that move out of turn number 4 at the end of the stage is quite risky and pretty difficult to time, especially if you're up there. Perhaps if you're further down, you have enough of a draft, enough of momentum to get out of the way. Aaron Brown now having to defend. He's gotten pushed to the outside lane. It looks like Stringer is going to make his move, and he's going to take first place for the first time, I believe, this race. So Aaron Brown did not lead a lap for the first time this race. It's not over yet. This is the final lap of the stage. Aaron Brown having all the support behind him. Equal lanes, equal number of cars in both lanes right now. So draft is equally balanced. The cars on the outside have more momentum. The cars on the inside have lesser distance to have to travel. Who's it going to be as they get into the final couple of corners of the stage?
Aaron Brown slots back in front of the 91 of Morgan Stringer with 1 left to go. Only a mad dash remains as we get down to the yellow flag that Barney's going to hold for us as we finish up the stage. It will be the wrap up there, and the yellow flag gets called. Whoa, a big slip up in the background between the 4 and the 8. Hawthorne and Young come together.
Luckily for both cars, both drivers, I don't think either of those cars hit any walls. So apart from a few flat spots on their tires, they should be good to continue without having to pit. Unless, of course, they want to do a quick splash and dash. It all depends on what drivers decide right now. Obviously, the timing tower has gotten shuffled a little bit based on relative position. But I do believe it was Aaron Brown crossing the line ahead of Helmbro, who was just a hair's width ahead of Stringer. So it was Helmbro that managed to take P2 at the end of that squabble.
What an amazing dash at the end of that run. Just when things were getting super quiet, we thought they were settled in and Brown was going to walk away with it. Stringer thoughtfully had P2 under wraps, but Helmbro at the end of the day is the one to snatch it away.
Of course, we have 3 laps under caution this time by.
And with the stage going the way of Aaron Brown at the end of the day, the driver who started out in first ends up finishing the stage in first, and everybody's going to come down pit road to fuel up their trucks and get back behind the pace car. Beautiful shots here of the infield at Daytona as the field consumes pit lane. On exit, though, it'll be Brown, Helmbro, then Stringer, or will it be, as there's a little bit of a race coming out of pit road?
Definitely see some tire changes going on there. Some of these cars stationary for much longer than others. So interesting choice. But I suppose once the stage is done, everyone's bunched back up anyways. So might as well get a few tires, even if it means you start a couple of rows behind.
First quick caution called around Daytona. 2.5 mile oval on the beach of Daytona, Florida, of course. We have a couple of keys to the race for us tonight. Key number 1 was one that the drivers really didn't tend to very much, and that was making sure that they stayed glued to their manufacturer line. Since runs don't form as violently from deep in the pack, you really needed 4 cars to commit to that outside lane to make it successful. Otherwise, it turned into kind of what we saw, a mixed lane that stalled out quickly. Key number 2 is to push with precision. It's a little less forgiving now than ever. Drivers gotta use and get more comfortable with pushing each other across the line. Gotta control the air on defense since the next-gen car produces more underbody downforce. It means side drafting isn't as powerful as it used to be, and leaders can dirty the air more effectively. Key number 4 is track position is more important than anything, and passing is very hard at these super speedways as we've seen, so drivers have to be very careful about making their moves and the commitment that comes with it. In the booth tonight, on behalf of AK Esports and Init, it's Saidu Ramesh and myself, Sagar Bakshi, taking you from green to checkered flag with a few yellows sprinkled in between.
Close to green flag, are we not? I think this is the in lap for the pace car. I believe the lights have gone off now, so all lined up for stage number 2. Once again, goes on till lap number 50. So just under 24, 23 laps of racing, given we've done a couple of them under caution after the first stage. So a bit shorter than stage number 1, but still the same number of points to play for. Let's see if Aaron Brown can extend his advantage, and let's see if Stringer can get some redemption for that last corner loss of position.
Couple more quick keys to the race for the drivers is to manage those tires, work together, stay in the draft, obviously, and execute those pit stops perfectly. The drivers have done that under the yellow flag condition. Can they do it under the green flag run for the final stage? Take a look at the green flag run as we get to the restart zone. It'll be Aaron Brown and Morgan Stringer starting us off. Anticipation, held breath as green flag is in the air. The 7 takes off like a rocket ship with Morgan Stringer in tow. Tom Bryant promoted himself up into 3rd, but loses one on the race restart to Peter Helmbrough, who's consuming that inside groove. John Russo and Jason Chucky are no strangers to each other, and they'll continue their charge alongside the 59 and the 46 go wheel to wheel in their Toyota machines.
The 59, 46, and number 80 are all very, very aggressively vying for position here. When I say aggressive, it's not in a bad way. They are obviously very enthusiastic, very eager to get going. And yeah, there's definitely the 3 cars that have made the most number of moves, it looks like, in this race. And this is probably where you need to capitalize on your starting position and start getting up ahead. We saw Stringer and Brown do this really well in the first stage. They got ahead, stayed out of trouble, and basically maintained position all the way to the end of the stage. So this is where you need to kind of get in the groove, get your position before everyone starts battling amongst themselves. The quicker you get into a rhythm, the easier it's going to be when you get closer to the end of the stage.
Speaking of finding a rhythm, Tom Bryant seems to have found his stride as he is up quite a huge haul of points right now. So far, so good for him as he started off the race way down the order and is currently running in 4th position.
Speaking of way down the order, Luke Byrne, who firmly lost draft towards the end of that the first stage, has now found himself back up to P6. So he's effectively neutralized the loss he had in. A good start once again here. So he's now jumped back up to 6. He started 11th at the beginning of this race. If you look at that graph, he's gone up and down. Now he's climbing his way back up. The highest he's gone, I believe, is P number 5. So let's see if he can get back up there. He's gone up to P4. Making a run for the front of the pack, Luke Byrne is. On the contrary, Sagar, Marcus Hagman is all the way in P13 at the tail end of this pack.
But that's just Marcus Hagman doing Marcus Hagman things. We've seen him run steadily at the back of the order and then come back to win a race at the end of the evening. It's not out of the question right now. As long as you could stay on the lead lap, you still have a chance to win it. With another stage break coming up, even a big one happening, we can still have drivers catch back up. Nearly 3 wide for the lead as Luke throws his elbow out at Jason Chucky. It'll be a 3-way squabble. Luke consumes the high groove. Will he come down all the way in front of Stringer? Stringer is there. Aaron Brown is there. The 45 is there of Fastmacher.
Drivers who were all firmly mid-pack and battling towards the end have found themselves up in front. Luke Byrne, an amazing comeback from stage number 1, is now leading the pack. Matthew Fenstenmacher as well in number 45, now in P3. Troki making his way up as well to P5. It looks like a complete flip of the grid, and Tom Bryant once again now firmly in mid-pack. So cars shuffling all over the place. I think the drivers realize that this stage is going to be quite a bit shorter than stage number 1 by at least 5 laps, making everybody a little more eager to get into position. And you see that the view that essentially Aaron Brown would have in his rear view mirror of cars squabbling all around behind him. And you just see how much you lose by sticking to that outside lane or losing the draft. Luke Burns lost about 2-3 car lengths to Stringer just from a difference in draft. So things are shuffling all over the place. But that's the beauty of Daytona, Sagar. It's a super speedway. You could have all sorts of variations in the pack, but somehow everyone's still together.
3 abreast, 2 rows deep. The 45 all the way to the back of the pack leads us around. Luke Byrne in 5th position right now, leads Martin Young around, but Young has decided he's done with being a bridesmaid. He wants to be the one holding the veil at the end of the night. Tom Bryant's thinking the same thing, up in 4th position, saying, you boys squabble behind me, and I'm going to go win this one eventually. The 42 finds himself with a positive gain of 8 this evening.
Helmbro now up to P3. Helmbro is another driver who didn't quite make it to the front of the pack throughout the first half of this race. Well, we're still in the first half of this race, but the first third of the race, he has now found his way up to P3, and he is looking forwards. He's got Tom Bryant right behind him, 2 drivers that are quite experienced in ovals, both knowing what they need to do to catch perhaps the 2 most experienced drivers up front. And as I say that, we see a big slide from Luke Byrne from the back of the pack to the front of the pack, back to the back of the pack. That is wheel damage, Sagar. You can see that right there. The front right fender firmly bashed into the hood of the car.
Oh yeah, that is going to be wheel damage for Luke, unfortunately there.
I would say fortunately he didn't spin out, but also unfortunately for him, because he did not spin out, it did not trigger a yellow flag. So he's going to now have to pit under the green flag. That's going to cost him a lot of time. He does, however, have a fast repair, so he's not going to have to spend too much time stationary fixing that damage, but he will have to limp back to the pits and go through the pit lane nonetheless. So he stands to potentially get lapped by this pack. And if he's the only car that's lapped at the end of the stage, he will be able to unlap himself, I believe.
Getting that lucky dog, as it's so aptly put, for NASCAR Truck Series. He would be the only car a lap down at the end of the evening. He should just come down pit road and rejoin this battle pack as quickly as possible. Get that damage repaired. In the background, there was Marcus Hagman trying to get things done. Hagman up into P7, right where he started this event.
love to see drivers going to the back of the grid and launching themselves back up in front. It's what makes it unpredictable, but it's also what makes it very exciting. And you see Marcus Hagman there, still making it work with just 2 cars on that lane. He has a few cars behind him, but not quite close enough to give a bump draft. He's the one who's doing the bump drafting here, pushing Kroki up ahead of him. He's got a bit of breathing space right now, but I am quite sure he's going to want to find himself down in the inside lane at some point.
Take a look at Peter Helmborough. He gets help from Tom Bryant and Jason Chalky, in the 46. He's the one who's going to help him out, and weaving around is going to be Aaron Brown. Saw the momentum carried from the 77 and wanted to get some of that. Now the 91 to the inside line is going to get moves done on Brown. 3 abreast. There's the 42 catching back up.
So the 2 chocolate cars, the M&M's chocolate and the Cadbury Dairy Milk right behind, working together to try to dethrone Aaron Brown, who has been so firmly planted in first place. He's been so dominant till now in this race. Now it looks like drivers are starting to work together to take some points away from him. They know this early in the season you need to start strategizing already. You can't let these stage points get away from you, because before you know it, you'll be halfway through the calendar and you will have only gotten points in final finishes instead of stage runs. So yeah, this is very, very important now. And you see all the drivers now pushing Bryant and Stringer, of course, in the inside lane. Trocky finding himself up, trying to push Aaron Brown up ahead. I don't think he's doing him any favors, though, because he's going to want to try to get up ahead once he finds enough space. Aaron Brown on the outside lane with the help of Trocky back up ahead. And Stringer, once again, having to settle for P3 as it stands.
Keep our eyes peeled on Aiden Hawthorne in that number 8, the Dunkin' Donuts, looking for a couple of swishes or maybe a couple of cups of coffee tonight would help him out, because currently running down 5 positions is not on the positive where he wants to be. Trocky, though, is up positively. He's up into 2nd place. It's behind Brown with a net of 8.
Sierra in the 79 and Sierra, Edwards and Russo, a few cars that have been a bit quiet, a bit sort of planted in their positions in this stage. They've been not making too many moves, so perhaps they're just biding their time. 5 or 6 laps. 9 laps left for this stage. Of course, a lot shorter than stage number 1. Feels like we just started racing, but there are only 9 laps left. So in another 9 odd minutes, we will know who takes another 10 points on the rest of the field. As it stands, Aaron Brown still up ahead. Stringer opting to now get back behind Aaron Brown on the outside lane. And now Trocky and Bryant will be working together. This is an excellent, riveting battle that's building up and only going to get more and more intense as the laps tick by.
This is definitely going to continue to brew up and boil over, possibly, as we just get under 10 laps for the 2nd stage. And then we have a long stretch before we wrap things up. It'll basically be the rest of the half of the race. Under green flag conditions, it'll be a tricky call for when the drivers need to come down pit road.
Aaron Brown still holding out in front. Stringer's gotten so far ahead that his lane is dropping behind him. So if he doesn't slow down and drag them along with him, he's actually going to get stuck and potentially just fall back into their clutches, while Aaron Brown takes advantage of the inside lane. So there's a lot of strategy, a lot of shuffling around, a lot of movements you need to foresee from your competitors as you start driving through these laps. 7 laps to go now, and Jason Trocky decides to take P1. Aaron Brown now dropping to P2. This is potentially Tom Bryan's chance now to also try to get some stage points. Probably work with Troki until obviously you no longer do work with your competitor and try to snatch her away from them. But for the time being, they need to work together if they want to upset the duo that's been leading the pack till now.
7 remain in the stage. Bryant trails Chalky for the lead. Hard charger being Tom Bryant right now with the net gain of 10. A little bit squirrely in the background, and then that'll be Aiden
Big wreck.
Hawthorne with an incident. Let's see what happened here.
Sierra going from having a quiet race to being the highlight of the second caution. I would say it's probably the first caution, given the first caution officially happened at the end of the stage. But yeah, there's a second caution. That Dunkin' Donuts car was stuck in the wall for a while, but it's gotten going. But yeah, this is interesting, Sagar, now, because this is a caution that might go on for a few laps, and then you have a stage end, and then another set of cautions. So do these drivers just stick it out right now? They may as well pit, but they'd probably again have to pit at the end of the stage, because the last stint, of course, is 50 laps, and you need a full tank of fuel to finish that. So yeah, you see the damage there. If they can hold out for a couple of laps, so be it. But I think either option really works the same way at the end of this.
Only the second caution of this race for the field. It'll be Trucky now into the lead of it. Javi Sierra making that desperate pit call with the meatball flag. Is not going to use his fast repair by the looks of it.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually a smart play by him, because if nobody else pits, if he's the only one that's a lap down, he can take his own time, fix his car, get back in front, unlap himself, and then he has another caution at the end of the stage where he can unlap himself again. So very smart by Sierra, and in that case, he would still have a fast repair ready if for any reason he's involved in another crash in the second half of this race. So some strategy being played out here. The only way that's going to upset him is if multiple drivers pit, some of them get lapped but are ahead of him when they get lapped, because then you no longer have the lucky dog. So there are potential options here. It all depends on how long Hawthorne's going to stay pitted. Interestingly enough, Aaron Brown is also pitted, so he has sacrificed his stage points. Interesting decision by Aaron Brown.
Very interesting strategy call. And I wonder how that's going to play out for him at the end of the night. Drivers making quick fire decisions, man. What do you do when you're looking forward to the end of the race, you know, during your second caution? Is it the best opportunity to pit or not quite yet?
This close to the end of a stage, it's probably not the ideal option to pit, especially if you're out front and you don't have any damage, because you're just going to get free stage points. If this caution ticks over to the end of the stage, if I understand the rules correctly, Jason Trocky is going to get 10 points. Tom Bryant's going to get 9 points. Martin Young, a driver who's been basically just slotted in the entire pack, has now found himself up to P3. He's going to get a lot of points. Stringer's dropped down to P5, so it was just bad timing, bad luck, I suppose, at the end of that caution. But Brown pitting without any damage is a very interesting option. It's a very interesting choice, Sagar. I don't think anyone else is going to pit, and it just seems like you're throwing away points if you pit right now.
Aiden Hawthorne back out onto the racetrack. We'll catch up to the back of the pack as the Duncan fires back up. He was in the pit lane for quite some time.
It's 2 laps down by the looks of it, because that's about a lap's about 50 seconds. He's almost 2 minutes down. Javi Sierra still in the pits, so this might be the moment where he should perhaps use his fast repair and just get out of the pits immediately.
Back behind the pace car, we're gridded up 2x2 Noah's Ark formation.
Not quite sure what the lap is right now, but it must be somewhere around 46 or 47. And it looks like it's going to be green flag this time by looking at the pace car's lights that have been shut off. So, yeah, in a way, it's still advantage Strokey and Bryant. Tom Brown's going to have to make his car work a lot harder than the rest of the pack, and he's going to need a miracle to get back up in front. So we'll see how this plays out.
Absolutely. As we come around the back side of the track on lap 46, we'll finish this up in just about 4 laps time. We look on at Barney the Flagman now, who holds the yellow high and proud with bated breaths.
So this is where the start matters the most. Strokey, for the first time this race, finds himself in P1, ready to control the start for the 3rd time this race. Drivers all lined up. Tom Bryant looking to make the jump, to time it perfectly. We're under green flag conditions. Strokey gets a good start. Bryant gets a great launch. He's already side by side, but he's got to make more space. He's got to run a longer distance basically around the outside. Luckily he's got some drafting partners right behind him, side by side, almost nothing between and the car right behind him, that is Hagman, right behind his fellow Swede up ahead, pushing forwards, pushing Tom Bryant and the rest of that lane forwards. And now Tom Bryant gets ahead, and this is going to be advantage Bryant. It's going to be advantage Russo, a very aggressive driver from the beginning of the race, now potentially getting the points that he's been working so hard to get. Strokey back right behind Tom Bryant. The 59 surely is going to slot down inside, opts to start a 3rd lane and then slots back down. So he's going to start pressuring the 46 ahead.
Three laps left to go in this stage, and it'll be a quick fire run until we get the next stage break with just those 3 laps left. 2 to go when the leaders cross the line, but Truckee snatches it away from Tom Bryant.
The 4 now shuffling around, the 59 dropping back. Tom Bryant now dropping several positions down to P5. Albeit still behind the effective leader of this pack. Ahead, up front now, Hagman right behind. And then you have Aaron Brown. Look at Aaron Brown from the back of the pack, back to P3. This is going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Immediately decides to hang Marcus Hagman out to dry on the outside and take an inside lane. And now Aaron Brown, out of nowhere, Sagar, Aaron Brown finds himself back to potentially P1, and now is P1 as they get onto the back straight.
And Truckee helps out by pushing Brown forward. The 46, a little 3 push there from Tom Bryant as well. In the 42, forces Truckee to get a little bit loose down to the apron. I think apologies were said in the chat with 2 to go. Over the radio, Luke Bryan is exclaiming that he wants 3rd. He wants some points tonight as well. He gave it up at the stage break the first time around. He's not playing the fool's dice again.
And Brown now out in front. Marcus Hagman right behind. Hagman has, as they get onto the back straight, he's got Luke Byrne right behind him. Luke Byrne, who had severe damage, who was trailing at the back of the pack, now back in front in P3. Is this Luke Byrne's time to shine? Is this Aaron Brown's time to show just how dominant he's going to be this season? It's one of these 4 that's going to get it. Aaron Brown trying to make the outside lane work, but with no help behind him, that's going to be very difficult. Brown and Luke Byrne essentially side drafting each other, slowing each other down. It's going to be when taking stage number 2. 10 points to Peter Helmbro, 9 points for Marcus Hagman. Jason Trocchi decides to get numbered. Jason Trocchi gets P3 and absolute chaos. It's as though everyone's waiting for the stage to end to finally push and take advantage of an inevitable caution at the end of the stage.
What a great run from the duo. It'll be Helmbro and then Marcus Hagman in second at the break, it looks like. Trocchi brings it home in third. But Helmbro with the stage win. And here comes the pace car to cut through the field like a knife. Get in front to catch up with Helmbro. Be a little bit careful there, pace car. You don't want to damage that Chevy that just took the stage win.
I would not be surprised if the points are level across the field right now, because drivers that didn't score many points in stage number 1 now scored a handful of points in stage 2 and vice versa. So I don't know if everybody has about 15 points or something, that would not
been looking good for a couple of drivers tonight. Martin Young gaining a few positions this evening. Does the pit stop take place? Excuse me, that'll be a meatball flag for Martin Young. And there it is. The flurry of pit stops all start to take place now.
Javi Sierra still 1 lap back, but nothing too much to worry about right now because he is definitely going to get back ahead. Surprising that he stayed out. He's anyways going to get the lucky dog flag, the lucky dog wave through. So not really sure why he stayed out, but he can always now get around and do his pit stop anyhow. So I guess all is well that ends well for Javi Sierra. Maybe not in terms of stage points, but he's back on the same lap as everyone else and has just as good a shot as every other driver to win this race.
Yeah, Javi Sierra deciding to get that lucky dog as quickly as possible, or the wave around as quickly as possible, and then will come in to get their service and then catch back up to the back of the pack shortly after. My drivers all get gridded up. Tom Bryant still running in third position after the stage break. Luke, the number 95, in the fourth. Trocchi in fifth. Martin Young in sixth. Ted Edwards, Aiden Hawthorne, Morgan Stringer, Matthew Fassenmacher, John Russo, Aaron Brown, and then our good friend Javi Sierra. There he is, Javi catching back up and passing Aaron Brown now.
Just trying to understand why. Yeah. Race.
So here we go. Javi Sierra is going to take his pit stop now, and Peter Helmbro catches back up to the pace car.
Yellow light still on the pace car, so we're still under yellow flag conditions. Plenty of time for Javi Sierra to get a pit stop if he needs it. If he opts to stay out, he's got a position advantage now, from the back of the pack at least, with Aaron Brown behind him. Looks like he opts to stay out, so everybody is staying out. Everyone's ready to go green for of about 47 laps.
It's going to be a great run to the checkered flag, but here it has only been our third caution around one of America's famous speedways, Daytona. The fight that made NASCAR mainstream has to be the 1979 Daytona 500. Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison, well, they threw punches on live television. Hopefully we don't have the same taking place here tonight, as we are live on TV with our good friends at Esports Edge and Roku TV. Maybe a few punches
Everyone's
can
ready.
be thrown.
I mean, they're very, very real virtual drivers sitting there. You can see those drivers inside the cars. You have drivers actually controlling those cars, but we do have those drivers modeled in game. So if there's a way for the drivers to interact with each other, that would be fun to watch. But let's hope there are no punches. Let's hope the end of the race is amicable and everybody is happy with the way the order stands at the end when everyone crosses the line. We're about to go green.
What if there was a Rock'em Sock'em Robots iRacing that you can go into a Rock'em Sock'em Robots lobby after your race and go duke it out? You know, you had beef with another driver, you go duke it out post-race. Here we go, back to the green flag. Peter Helmbro and Max Hagman line the first row. Tom Bryant and Luke Byrne, Init staff members, line the second. Green, 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 and Peter Helmbro takes off like the rocket ship that he is. Max Hagman follows suit and slots in single file as the order of operation. For the first three, Luke, being a little stubborn, though, falls back behind Ted Edwards as the number 80 catches back up to P5, where he started out this event.
Having a look, we need to keep an eye on Javi Sierra, see how he picks up the pieces of a handful of lost points from the first stage. Number 45, a fence marker, back at the back of the pack, but he's got the very fast Aaron Brown in front of him. So if he follows his line, sticks to the sort of drafting trains that Aaron Brown opts to choose, he may just find himself back up in front as well. Remember, a lot of these drivers found themselves at the sharp end of the field before chaos once again ensued towards the end of stage one. As it stands, Rocky up front, Helmbro, the winner of stage number 2, now down into P3. Hagman dropping back into firm mid-pack. Tom Bryant dropping down the order as well. Stringer back in front. So once again, it's like cars shuffling all over the place. Every time we have a new stage, it's just a completely random order of the grid once again. So it's anyone's race.
Definitely
in these 50
is
laps.
Anybody's race going into the final 50 laps of this one. There's Hagman, though, losing a couple of positions, but like I said earlier on in the broadcast, it's not unlike Marcus Hagman to fall back and wait for the pieces to fall into his lap. P6 is no slouch. Any stretch of the imagination. Luke Byrne, what has happened here as he falls back with Matthew Fassenmacher, and that'll be, well, P next to last with Matthew Fassenmacher. They have to work together quick, fast, in a hurry to catch up to the first battle pack.
You see number 45 now starting to bump draft Luke Byrne. I suspect Luke Byrne might have some residual damage, some sort of engine damage. Remember, he did have steering wheel damage for which he had to use his fast repair. But there might be a chance there was some residual damage that just stays even after a fast repair. Yes, it can happen. I'm not too sure with these trucks how that works. But yeah, they have lost the drafting train. You see, they're starting to lose a lot of speed. So unless there are a few other issues up front, it looks like Byrne and Fenstermacher are going to have to just give each other company till the end of this race. Very clean up front, though. So nothing for the time being. No one's really dropping down the order. You see the number 4 there of Martin Young now trying to figure out what to do, being at the tail end of a very short lane. And we go 3 wide. Aaron Brown starting to make his moves once again.
Falling down the order is going to be John Russo as he slots into the middle lane. Look to the inside, but it was occupied by Ted Edwards in the number 80. Up ahead, the trio from Truckee to Helmbro is sandwiching Morgan Stringer in a number 91 Toyota. And then the 2x2 begins from Marcus Hagman and Brown all the way back down the order.
Hagman and Brown almost coming side by side, almost banging doors out of turn number 4 there because of the way the track and the camber changes getting into the tri-oval section. You need to be very, very controlled, and the wall kind of just jumps out of you out of nowhere. So cars have to suddenly steer a lot more, take a much tighter line on exit. That's potentially why cars start getting very swirly and slidey out of those corners. But both drivers, very experienced in their own right, quite sure they're going to keep it clean as they get out of that corner. corner. Stringer back up into P2, a position he's gotten very used to, a position he's not a stranger to. And he doesn't want to be a stranger, doesn't want to stay there any longer, decides to get into P1.
Big hip jack, and that turns into a spin at turn 1, and that'll be the first big one of the race. First big caution called, including Martin Young and Javi Sierra coming together.
Well, the two cars that must be happy to see that must be those two cars that just passed us there. Number 95 and number 45 finally have a chance now to get back to the rest of the pack. Unfortunately, the cars at the back, Sierra and Young both have damage. There's definitely some serious damage there on that car up ahead. Yeah, it looks like people are going to start pitting once again. But remember, we have to keep track of which drivers have fast repairs and which ones don't. Off the top of my head, Luke Byrne is probably the only driver that's used his fast repair.
And what does this mean for the fuel load as well? Are we close enough to the end of the race? It'll be 35-ish laps to make it to the end, and we're 40 laps from the end of the race. So my math is correct. That means no, but Aaron Brown's going to try to go. Well, is he going to go down pit lane? Make up your mind, Aaron Brown. You're playing with my heartstrings here as he crosses down the line and can't make up his own mind if he wants to come down the lane or not. Looks like no services to be had for the 7, the 46, or the 91, Morgan Stringer.
Also, it looks like the pit lane probably gets closed right when the caution gets thrown out. So as soon as it's thrown out, I think it gets closed, right? I think this time you are allowed to dive down into pit lane, if I'm not wrong. We'll see which drivers go down pit lane. We already see the red car there, the 79, potentially thinking about it. Is that the 79? My bad. It's 59. So yeah, most of the drivers going down pit lane. You see Hawthorne there in the distinct Duncan car staying out. Stringer and Brown staying out. Rocky staying out. So the drivers who've been vying for victory from the start, all staying out. Hawthorne making his way up front, of course. Everyone else has pitted. So everyone's got fresher tires. Everyone's got a full tank now at the end of this. The top four will really have to be judicious with their fuel usage if they want to get in front. The tricky part, Sagar, when you're all the way up at the front of the pack, you will be burning more fuel.
Very true. When you don't have the help of the slipstream to push you along and lift off into those corners, you will be consuming a lot more fuel than the rest of the field. Morgan Stringer doesn't seem to be phased. Neither does Aaron Brown, Jason Chalky, or Aiden Hawthorne, as they all came in on lap 51 and haven't blinked since.
$51, 40 laps to go for the ones that did pit on lap number 60. But if a full tank can do that, that's perfect. Full tank can only do 37, then everybody's in trouble. But yeah, top four definitely playing it very close here. They might be anticipating another caution, but that's really not something you can depend on, given the first half of the race was actually quite clean. So let's see how it goes. Everyone's lined up. Everyone's getting settled in. Pace car, of course, still has the lights on, so there's still a couple of laps we might have to go around before we get under green flag conditions. Let's see what the pace car lights do as they cross the line here. This might be the one where they go green. It's a good chance also for Sierra to make up some spots to get back closer to the front. He was at the end of the pack when we restarted last time, but he was on the lead lap. Seems like he still stayed at the end of the pack. May have been involved in some of those collisions that triggered this caution. So quite an unlucky run for Javi Sierra, but all is not lost yet. Currently, as it stands, he's still a lap down. I don't think he's going to get a lucky flag because the pace car's lights have gone out. So it looks like it's green flag next time round.
With it being the green flag next time by Stringer and Brown, lead Truckee and Hawthorne around the racetrack one more time.
Javi Sierra still in the pits, so it looks like he has got some serious damage. It's not moving, at least according to the timing screens.
Javi Sierra might be out of this race, unfortunately. Oh, no. Is that him?
No, that is
No.
the Dr. Pepper car. That is Edwards, I believe. Is that? No. No, that is not Edwards. I'm sorry about that. Looked like that.
That would have to be Martin Young catching up to the back of the pack. There it is. That's going to be Martin Young. Here we go. Ready to go back to green in just a few moments now. Pace car pulls in here at the end of this lap. Only our second big caution of the race thus far. Brown and Stringer line that first row. Green, green, green is in the air, and the 91 of Stringer is the one to control the field.
Brown getting a good launch, but not getting off quick enough to get in front of Truckee. He's going to have to settle for the outside lane as Truckee does what he can to give some side draft, to get ahead, stay right behind some big points out of all of this, given the adventures he's had through the pack. Stringer will definitely want redemption. If Stringer wins the race, he wouldn't be, he would probably not mind losing a couple of spots on stage number 1. But if anyone has a way, if anyone's going to stop him, it's definitely going to be Aaron Brown. He's been up there since the beginning. He is not going to give away these points. He lost a few points at the end of stage number 2. He's not going to want to do that again 2 times in a row. Remember, you have all the points to play for at the end of this race. This is not stage end. This is the end of the race that you're looking at the end of lap number 100. As it stands, Aaron Brown does not slot ahead, sorry. Manages to get a nose ahead, but is still stuck on that outside lane. And that's a very difficult line to work with around this racetrack, especially at this point in the race.
Now, Sai, if you were one of the drivers, where would you want to be at this point with 37 laps left to go? In the front, in the middle, or in the rear? Where would you prefer to be as we see the 2x2 forming already? Stringer and Brown, Truckee and Hawthorne. Russo trails in the back end of the 5 drivers at the front.
I think Russo definitely has the best seat in the house at the moment. Despite limited visibility being at the end of a pack of cars like that, he's got the most options here. Being at the end of a 2x2 lane draft, essentially, he's got everything to play with. He can do whatever he wants. He can maintain speed. He can help whichever drafting lane he wants to help. He can even, dare say, go below the apron there and try to get in, force the 46 of Truckee into a middle lane. He can do what... He has a lot of options, what I'm trying to say here, but he has to also be careful because of situations like that. You know how aggressive drivers in front can get as the laps tick down. So if you're in a very tight spot here, it's also going to cause you problems if you get caught in an inevitable wreck. But yeah, as it stands, the 59 has probably the best seat in the house, so to speak.
Absolutely. Watching on at the first 4 duke it out. He wants to get involved, but doesn't see a way to get his nose up in there. The 59 of John Russo sees Aiden Hawthorne and Morgan Stringer having all the fun in the world and wants a piece of the pie as well. But, sir, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. You don't get to watch the battle and be part of it at the same time. Well, at least unless you're Truckee. And you take a look at what Truckee's doing. Truckee gives a little kiss down to the apron and gets a little loose, but keeps the truck beneath him. on the positive run so far.
Like a very dangerous game there, trying to force a 3-wide situation, especially when you're in the middle of a corner going down on the apron. It's probably the worst thing you can do, especially at a track like Daytona with the sort of banking you have. If you were doing that in Talladega, it would almost instantly be a spin. Here he managed to hold it for the time being, but just very little room to work with here. It is a super speedway, but it is quite narrow in certain sections. So you need to be very careful when you make moves like that. That could have just been a small mistake, but with only about 30 laps left, a small mistake could potentially cost you the race. So you need to start picking your battles a bit more carefully, but at the same time, you need to be offensive as it gets closer to the end.
Yes, absolutely. Have to stay offensive throughout the closing stages of this event. As the leaders cross the line, it'll be 33 laps remaining. Best laps coming in down into the 49 lows. Last time by 50.5 for Aaron Brown, our race leader. Morgan Stringer, 50.47. Nobody breaking into the 49s on their previous lap. So maybe with 33 laps left to go, if you can find a dance partner or two, the undercut can work out in your favor.
I think those fast lap times are about to start making their way on the leaderboard, because you see Marcus Hagman now bringing the rest of that lane behind him closer to the front. You're going to have one big mega lane down, a big train of cars down on the bottom lane, and just two cars, the Duncan car and Aaron Brown up ahead. Hawthorne and Aaron Brown are going to have to make it work on their own on the outside. If they want to get into this battle, it would be smart to now slot back in front of Marcus Hagman before he closes that gap. But somehow, Sagar, those two cars are still maintaining the same speed as the rest of them.
Look at the 46 right now of Chucky. Sandwiched in between, but using that nose to push forward. The 91 of Stringer.
Chalky now really pushing his luck, but he's also really pushing Stringer up ahead. He does not want Aaron Brown to get slotted up in front. And as I say that, the two cars managed to do just that. We have one single train of cars now, Sagar, as they start picking up speed. You're going to start seeing 49s very soon. Fuel burning off, tires relatively fresh, cars getting more aggressive, bump drafting all around. Troki and the 59 of Russo now trying what the number 8 and the number 7 were trying a couple of laps ago. Are they going to get a slingshot and get back in front? Let's see what happens here. Very close battles between Troki and the number 8 Duncan car. Aaron Brown, the one and only Aaron Brown, still up ahead, back in front, and now is going to be a big challenge for everyone to get ahead of him, because once he gets in front, Aaron Brown basically controls the pack.
The American Sim Racer truck tries that high line with more John Russo. Well, it'll work out at the end of the day. He needs a lot of help from back down the grid. Russo isn't quite there to give him all the help that he needs. They need a third truck involved to drive that momentum. Basically, what that third truck is doing is basically dropping the tailgate on the second, allowing him to get within that buffer zone and start shoving him along. So that third truck's role is extremely important in the drafting game.
Yeah, the number 8 just dropping down a little bit, getting Stringer to push him along, just enough to keep Jason Stokey out of that lane. Because if Jason Stokey finds a gap, he's definitely going to want to try to get between the number 7 and the number 8. Jason Stokey now potentially having that opportunity. Once again, just not having enough speed to push his way in front. A very small gap there, but it is potentially going to open up if the number 8 drops back any further. So really anyone's game here. Number 59 also pushing Troki along on the outside lane. Let's see if those two drivers once again get up in front. Not as much speed this time by. The inside lane definitely picking up momentum now.
Chalky now looking to the outside of Aiden Hawthorne. A little too far back to make hay while the sun is shining on this occasion, but he's still going to go for the attempt to pincer Morgan Stringer down. No
big
pincer
gap here.
Moves to be had until we get to the apex of 3. That's when Chalky tries to get some side draft from the truck and the 8.
Troki and Rusu not giving up here, still trying to make that outside lane maneuver work. They saw it help the top 2 as it currently stands, and it looks like the 59 has had enough. He wants to now get a third lane forming there, but with even a second lane struggling to survive, I don't see how a 3-lane system is going to work here. The 59 starting to get a bit desperate, it looks like. Troki holding his line up front, and it looks like the 46 has a really good chance now to actually take this race away. But he needs the help of the 59 right behind. The 59, of course, knows if he helps the 46 now, he has a better chance of slingshotting around with a few laps to go. What's going to happen as we get into the tri-oval? Once again, Troki finds himself in front. Aaron Brown now having to play catch-up in P3. The 59 and the 46 made that work beautifully.
Great move from a great driver. Jason Chalky slots back into the lead with the help of John Russo. And that 59 leading and besting over Aaron Brown, who started out in the lead of this event and took the stage win as well.
Single file as it stands. 26 to go. We're in the last quarter of this race. This is where moves are going to become maneuvers. They're going to become chess moves. They're no longer just random fights for position. This is where every move that you make is going to have a significant effect 10 laps down the line.
It's only a little bit more fuel in the tank for Russo over Chalky at the end of the day. I expected to see a lot more. But no, at the end of the evening, it was just a 9-lap deficit. But does that mean that he can go to the checkered flag? Time will decide what the drivers have made up their minds about throughout this event. But for now, it's the Jet Fab 46, the 59 Kendall machine, and the HendrickCars.com number 7.
Jason Troki, Aaron Brown, Aiden Hawthorne, and Morgan Stringer. These 4 drivers are the only ones that stayed out in that last caution. They are all 9 laps lower than the rest of the pack in terms of fuel. They're the drivers who we need to keep an eye on. P1, P3, P4, and P5. Russo is in a perfect position now. If those 4 drivers pit, he's only got Marcus Hagman almost half a second behind him. As mainly the only threat between him and victory. But we all know that when Marcus Hagman is in your rearview mirrors, you have to be careful. Because he's going to pounce at the perfect opportunity and take away the victory if you give him the opportunity to do so.
That's absolutely true. You never want to give Hagman the opportunity and the means to get a move done, because he won't need to be invited twice to sit down and accept that favor. He'll just go ahead and yank it. In the background is Luke Byrne and Matthew Fassenmacher. The 45 and the 95 are wheel to wheel in the background of this battle.
So let's say Martin Young has dropped back significantly, half a lap, more than half a lap away from the rest of the pack. So Something definitely happened in the background which missed our attention. Could have been a spot, could have gotten spun or just had some damage or hit the wall potentially. That's probably a possibility. Luke Byrne and Matthew Fenstermacher still side by side in P10 and P11, just forming a drafting train. Tom Bryan has now made his way back to this pack, but he is at the back of the pack. Tom Bryan was a driver who we expected to be right there in the midst along with everyone else ahead of him. It looks like he's been having a lonely race at the back of this pack. He's going to have to start making some moves here. He might need to work alongside Helmgren and potentially Edwards up ahead to maybe form a third lane that could leave Marcus Hagman on the inside lane, but at least these three drivers can then get a slingshot on the outside. Different strategies, different things that can work. If the drivers are in a voice chat together, yeah, they can coordinate potentially, but if they're all working on their own, this is going to be a game of communication with your car. How are you going to communicate? How are you going to create drafting partners without actually speaking to them?
Here comes John Russo on his good friend Jason Truckee from ASR. Can he get the move done? Not seeing it set up just yet, as John Russo trails Truckee by just less than 1/10 of a second.
21 laps to go, perhaps a bit too early to make a move that you're going to hold. That's going to give you a position that you'll hold till the end of the race. But intimidation, tactics, confusing the driver up ahead by being big in the rearview mirrors, those are some of the things you can do at the moment just so that it becomes a mind game all the way till the end. Because when you're in the front of the pack, you have clear air up front, but you have a fierce collection of drivers behind you, all vying for victory. There is a lot of pressure if you are in P1. Jason Truckee at the moment not feeling that pressure, but it's only a matter of time before this pack bunches up. And as I say that, you already see the number 8, the Duncan car, Hawthorne's car, starting to close in and make this a 4-way battle. Stringer right there, P5, 5 cars very close to the front.
Truckee leads Russo, and then Aaron Brown and Hawthorne, Stringer, Hagman, Ted Edwards, Helmbro. Then Tom Bryant still on the lead lap, just barely holding on. It's going to be Matthew Fassenmacher and Luke Byrne. Russo weaving around, trying to find a way through on Jason Truckee in the 46, but no doings just yet. Continue to help out Truckee until the end of the race, probably. 19 laps left to go. Sai, it always seems like time flies when you're having fun.
These drivers definitely are having fun, but the nerves might start to kick in now. You see drivers shuffling everywhere. No one's quite willing to get onto that outside line because it's a gamble. Will the driver behind you follow, or will they leave you hanging out to dry? As you see a car exiting the pits there, going to be staying out of the way. That is, I believe, Martin Young exiting the pits after fixing whatever damage was plaguing his car. But yeah, drivers are now just very hesitant. Is that going to be a yellow flag? That is Martin Young spinning there in the background. Still green flag conditions as it stands, so no. We continue driving up front. And I think with 18 laps to go, the drivers want it to be green, so they have the best shot at victory.
Green flag conditions remain with 18 laps remain, 17. And we go further down the order. These will be quick 16 laps when the leaders cross the line, as Russo and Truckee are going to exchange blows for the win of this event. The drivers all fighting for a Bubba Myers paint scheme. designed by Bubba Brett Myers himself. That'll be the chief prize for this championship.
The 59 has been bump drafting 46 for like the last 10 laps at least. No space between those drivers, and I'm quite sure Russo would want to keep it that way, because if Trocky has to pit, he needs as much momentum, as much draft as he can till the very last second in order to keep a gap to the cars behind. 16 laps to go. It doesn't look like they're going to pit, but unless we have an accurate visualization of their fuel levels, we can't really tell when they're going to stop. He's near empty. Sagar, it looks like 4 cars are going to pit.
Just about or thereabouts on fumes for the drivers that came in on lap 51. Should be about 9 extra laps of fuel theoretically for the drivers that came in on lap 60. But when, if, shall they come down pit road next is the question.
A caution now would have been very helpful for those 4 cars. Unfortunately for them, they're going to have to rely on their own skill, on their own fuel saving skill, or just pure pace coming out of the pit lane. But 4 cars working together, they're not going to be able to catch this pack if the pack is half a minute ahead. So if they pit, Russo is going to have a decent advantage with Marcus Hagman, Edwards, Helmbro, and Tom Bryant all in the midst for victory. So it looks like anybody can win. 5 cars driving down the pit lane, P8 Hawthorne as well going into the pits. So yeah, Russo as well. Russo surprisingly is pitting. I'm very surprised that Russo decided to pit. He hadn't pit. He had pit on lap 60, so surely he had enough fuel.
What a stop there for Chucky. Comes to a screeching halt. A missed pit stop, I think, for one driver. Here's Fassenmacher still duking it out with Luke Byrne right now on the racetrack. And Martin Young, they're in tow, but not on the same lap as them. Marcus Hagman, Ted Edwards, Peter Helmborough, and Tom Bryant are the quattro in the lead of this event. They all came in on lap 60. Did they have enough fuel to make it to the end? It's doubtful.
Yeah, looking at the calculations, with 14 to go, those drivers that just pitted had to get a full tank. The rest of the field only had a 9-lap advantage. So they're still going to be 4 laps short by the looks of it. So they will have to pit, in which case Russo made a good decision pitting with the bigger squad of drivers, because he's going to have better draft. Yeah. So it looks like these 4 drivers will inevitably pit. But if there is a yellow flag, they are going to be the luckiest drivers on the screen.
Looking good for these guys here. Hagman, Edwards, Helmbrough, and Tom Bryant in the top 4. But that inevitable pit stop will change things up, and I think the undercut strategy might be the one to be on.
It really depends on how much fuel they filled, because if tires are not a factor, these 4 drivers have lesser fuel that they're running with, which means they're going to have a higher average speed. That actually also explains why the 5 cars that did pit were pulling away from these drivers, because they had less fuel to start with at the beginning of that stint. So whatever advantage they built, they're now going to lose with these cars. It all depends on how smoothly the pit stops go. So effectively Hagman is the leader, or rather currently Hagman is the leader, but effectively it looks like Russo is the leader of this race as it stands. But we'll see what happens. Luke Byrne and Fenstermacher will also have to pit at the same time that the top 4 pit. So they don't seem to be part of this equation as it stands. But a yellow flag could neutralize this entire field. So 11 laps to go. Anything can happen. At Daytona, this is when things start to get feisty.
Just about 10 laps left to go. The 80 of Ted Edwards finally back up into the mix. Has gained 3 positions on his charge, and hopefully he can hold on to a few of those. Marcus Hagman, I warned you that man was dangerous. Here he is leading the charge now. The tip of the spear, the sharp of the knife. It's Marcus Hagman punching a hole in the air for the rest of the field.
So let's keep an eye on that gap. Russo is currently 38.5 seconds off the leader. And you see he's slowly bleeding lap time there. He's slowly losing time to the leaders for 2 reasons. He's got more fuel as it stands. And also, look at the gap between Russo and Trocky compared to Stringer and Brown. They're 2 seconds apart. So they're 2 different drafting trains as it stands, as opposed to this four-driver drafting train that is consistently putting out faster lap times. The drivers up ahead are doing low 49s. The drivers they're effectively racing are a couple of tenths slower than them.
Very, very interesting stuff. Let's see how this all pans out at the end of the day with just 9 laps to go. There's the 8 up the road. That's going to be Aiden Hawthorne falling prey to the leaders now.
Now it's interesting to see that effective leading pack that's now P7 onwards, they're only about 9 seconds up the road from these leaders, so they might even get lapped at this point. Very unlikely given the speed deficit and the lap time difference being so small, but it's just something worth noting because these leaders are effectively going to see their rival group coming up on the racetrack almost a lap down. So 9 laps to go. I reckon in another 5 laps, these cars will have to pit. Potentially, if we see a graphic of these cars, we will see their tank is probably already red. Almost just maybe a few pixels of fuel left on the graphic.
Few pixels left on the graphic remain indeed, with just 8 of those lines left. And we warned you guys about the green flag conditions here. It's just as littered with green flag runs as we expected it to be. Only 4 cautions have been called thus far. 2 big ones, 2 for the stage breaks. That will be all she wrote. All 13 drivers, unfortunately, not finishing this one as we did lose Javi Sierra.
Javi Sierra wrapped it up 30 laps ago, owing to potentially severe car damage and no more fast pit repairs rather available. Martin Young 1 lap down. We saw him spin a while back and once again spin when he came out of the pit lane, I believe. So there are, if I'm not wrong, that was Martin Young. So he is a lap down after a couple of laps down at this point after doing some pit stops. Luke Byrne spins into the pit lane, narrowly missing the 45. Matthew Fenstermacher making sure to stay out of the way there. So you have the next set of cars making their pit stops, and it looks like it's only a matter of a couple of laps before Marcus Hagman will have to pit. If they're running on fumes now, it's very, very dangerous to be staying out this long. You're not gaining anything at that point. You're only losing a lot more. Let's see if this is the lap when the top 4 decide to finally get a splash in there.
What if perhaps they've been saving fuel this entire time? And rather than saving a little bit of fuel towards the end, if they were saving fuel for this longer than normal stint, they could perhaps go the full 40.
Well, if that is the case, Sagar, I would probably say Hawthorne has the best chance, because didn't Hawthorne recently pit? He pitted on lap 86. He's probably not having to conserve too much fuel, and he's just at the back of this pack. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the second pack. I got confused there. So Hawthorne is part of... Hawthorne's a lap down at that point, so he just got lapped. That was a mix-up from me. Never mind, yes, if Hagman has basically mastered the art of saving fuel along with his compatriots behind, they have a very good chance of snatching away a victory. A victory that was so firmly in sight for potentially Trocky. Aaron Brown definitely would have wanted that victory. Stringer seeing the front of the pack all the time, just seeing the back of Aaron Brown's bumper. Russo pushing from the very beginning of the race. These four drivers have been putting everything into winning the race, and that leading pack come in very cleanly together. Four cars side by side. Who's going to get the cleanest pit stop? Is it going to be Tom Bryant, the driver who has infamously had very interesting slidey pit stops in the past? Is it going to be Hagman, the driver who has probably the most experience when it comes to race wins? Tom Bryant's already left the pit, but so has the rest of that pack. The 80 of Edwards getting off on the wrong foot there. Marcus Hagman still in front. Looks like they've maintained position. This is where it gets interesting, Sagar. That pack is coming around the final corner.
And they're coming around the first corner now with 4 laps left to go. How do they all blend together now?
They have the momentum nearly 200 miles per hour, or probably very close to that. The rest of that pack still having to stay under the apron. Remember, you can only merge once you get onto the back straight. You see that time ticking down, 8 seconds, and dropping. They've picked up speed. They're at 163. What's the speed of the pack behind? They're probably going to catch them into turn number 4, but I think it's advantage pack Hagman as it stands.
Hagman and Helmborough are going to lead us around with just 3 laps left to go, folks.
Tom Bryant having to now make some decisions. Will he form a new train? Can he trust that Edwards backs him up on that decision? Will he be the one to challenge the two Hagman and sticking up front, maintaining position? Hagman having to weave a little bit. Is this a chance for Helmbro now to snatch it away? He has maintained a bit of a gap, but you did see Hagman there try to move onto the outside lane. These are mind games, that's for sure. He is doing everything he can to confuse the competitors behind. Helmbro getting a decent run now. 2 laps to go. We will be seeing the white flag next time by.
If we do see the white flag next time by, this race will go official. Otherwise, we will have to wait for green-white checkers to take over the field, and we'll get restarted and re-racked one last time. But the drivers here at Init Esports seem equipped to handle the challenge. Hagman, Helmbro, Tom Bryant, then Ted Edwards catching up to the number 45 up the road. Matthew Fassenmacher gets the lap down now. 2 to go, 1 to go when the leader crosses the stripe. Sai, this has been an amazing race littered with nothing but battles. Take it away.
Totally unexpected. The pack that we thought was going to win, the pack that starts from Aaron Brown down to Russo, they had the wrong pit call. I wouldn't say the wrong pit call, but they had the strategy that worked out less in favor in terms of average pace for this race. The pack up ahead, the ones that stayed out in that last caution, the ones that decided to do a fuel-saving run, they're the ones that right now, number 77 of Hagman and Helmbro taking the inside lane with P1 and P2. Tom Bryant starting there into second position just for a second on the outside, trying to make the slingshot work, but I think it's a bit too late for that. Hagman holding out in front. Tom Bryant making one last effort to get in front. Helmbro pushing Hagman up ahead, and it's Marcus Hagman, the veteran, the winner of previous exhibition races, who will take P1 here at Daytona and a hefty handful of points for the first set of points on the board for the championship.
Great drive from Marcus Hagman. Great drive from the entire field tonight. Amazing job to keep it calm, cool, and collect. But look at all the tire debris picked up by the 12 My goodness, they have been to the trenches and back tonight, Sai.
Just looking back, remember in stage one, I was telling you how Marcus Hagman was at the tail end of the pack. And I was wondering what he was up to. Well, I don't know if that was on purpose, what he was doing there, but doesn't really matter now, does it? He's not going to care about any of that. He's got the most number of points at the end of this race, and he's not going to be complaining about that. That's the last thing he'd want to do. He's got his victory, and he's going to end up enjoying some donuts.
Go ahead, Marcus. Enjoy those donuts and burn it down. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll have interviews taking place in just a few moments where we'll get to talk to Marcus Hagman and hear about his race and how it fared this evening.
While donuts are being done, you see other drivers just about finishing their races. Those, of course, I believe they're the tail end of the pack. That would have probably been Matthew Fenstermacher and also Luke Byrne wrapping up the final positions of the race. It was a battle between two strategies, between two packs of cars. It looks like the ones that pushed it to the limit, the ones that took the riskier strategy, in this case, are the ones that came out victorious.
Absolutely. I mean, just amazing battles throughout the field, from the first four to the second quattro that consumed another battle pack all the way to the checkered flag. Different pit stop strategies took place. Different strategies altogether took place. We had a couple of yellow flags drive some drivers out of contention, but all in all, 12 out of the 13 taking the checkered flag is not too bad.
Yeah, maximizing your pit stop during a yellow flag and then just making a short pit stop dash at the end of the race seems to be the way, seems to be the best strategy. It looks like neither of the packs did that strategy particularly. Looks like the one that had the shortest pit stop at the end, they're the ones that made it work the best. Got about a 5-second advantage to the rest of the pack, and that's really all you need with 10 laps to go. You have a firm advantage. All you're battling is 4 cars, not 8.
With that being said, we'll take a few minutes ad break real quick on Esports Edge before we take a look at the race results, folks. But man, oh man, Martin Young and Luke Byrne definitely had an ability and the capability to get to the checkered flag in the lead of this one. I think this is just a sliver of the story that's about to be told for the remainder of this championship.
100%. I mean, Daytona is a classic racetrack to start your NASCAR season. It's a very different sort of approach compared to some of the slower tracks, but it sets a good precedent for what is yet to come. Charlotte, of course, is next. Very different track from Daytona. Charlotte's going to be a tire conservation game. Strategy is going to become even more important. In some ways, Sagar, it's probably going to be a harder race than this one.
Oh, man, what could be tougher than the super speedway of Daytona? Well, I guess you just named a few. The drivers are going to have to contend with some tougher and tougher tracks as we cut through. What about Watkins Glen coming up? That's got to be one of the tracks that I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, Watkins Glen, of course, is not an oval, so it's a road course. It's going to be a very different sort of test of skill. Of course, drivers are very proficient in taking road courses as well as part of the championship. So Watkins Glen is going to be kind of the accumulation of all the tire conservation lessons that drivers will learn. That's obviously way down on October 24th, so it's a good 6-7 races down the line. So plenty of time for drivers to prepare for that one, but that's going to be a completely different ball game. That's just a totally different style of racing, isn't it?
Absolutely. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the race results. And these are the unofficial results pending any penalties, but Marcus Hagman with the 14 laps led took the win over Helmbro by less than a tenth. Tom Bryant 1/10 back at the end of the day in third, and he gets the hard charger award with 9 positions gained. Aaron Brown with the most laps led also, and Ted Edwards bringing home 4th position. Aaron Brown in 5th. John Russo, Jason Shockey, Morgan Stringer, Aiden Hawthorne, Matthew Fassenmacher, Luke Byrne, and Martin Young, and Javi Sierra not finishing this one, unfortunately.
Look at that stat, 8 different leaders. We have a 13-car grid and 8 different cars led a lap. That's definitely impressive. It just shows how exciting a super speedway race could be.
Absolutely. Everybody had a chance to win this one, but at the end of the day, it wasn't even one of the stage winners that took victory. Speaking of winners, let's go ahead and talk to Marcus Hagman in just a few moments. Marcus, hello, and how are you doing, my friend? It's been a long time since we've last talked. Welcome to the broadcast booth here at Daytona, brought to you by AK Esports. How does it feel to be on the top step of the podium one more time?
Thank you, sir. It feels hot, but apart from that, it feels okay. That was a solid team effort.
It looked like it for sure. A little bit of help from Peter Helmbro throughout the race drove you guys to the victory. And the 12 and the 77. What were your keys to the race tonight, and what were the things that you wanted to focus on the most?
The key to the victory was pitting on that last caution and just saving as much fuel as we could until Aaron and the other guys pitted. Because then I knew we had a much shorter pit stop. Plus, if we 4 work together and don't go side by side, we can be faster than them. And we was like about 4/10 faster every lap except the last 2 laps before the pit stop. And that's what made it up for the victory. And I was sitting on Discord with Peter all the time, coaching him what to do and what not to do. And it worked out really, really, really good.
Yeah, it did. The results definitely speak for themselves at the end of the evening. Now, Marcus, early on in the race, we saw you fall a little further back and maybe not start the race perhaps where you wanted to. P7 isn't exactly the first row or, where you want to be. You had a lot of hard work to do. Talk to us about your strategy going into the race. How did you expect to make up those positions?
First of all, the starting position doesn't really mean much in races like this. And on the first pit stop, I remember, I saw on the first restart that I had auto clutch on, because I lost so much on that restart. And I was thinking, if we get a green white checker, I do not want to lose time on the restart. So during the first pit stop, I actually went into the setting and took the auto clutch away. And I mean, it wasn't, unfortunately, a 30-car field. The field was relatively small, so it doesn't really matter if you start last. You can make up those positions, and I showed now that it can be done.
Absolutely. Marcus, with that being said, is there anybody you want to shout out or anybody you want to thank?
Especially my teammate for my team, MHE Racing, Peter Helmbro, for the help and the support and everything around. And also my sponsors, Marby Rental Car and Lagerkungen. And I would also do a shout out to Fly Race Dream and Killa Cleo for the Skirt Squad, for supporting me and be good friends all over. And of course you guys for broadcasting and letting us race.
Thank you, Magnus, for all of your love and support here at Init Esports. We really appreciate it. Have a great night, and most importantly, stay safe as always.
As always, you two guys. Peter will not come in. He got some stuff to do. So just a heads up so you know.
Thank you so much, sir. Take care, Marcus.
You too, bud.
Man, oh man. Let's take a look at other events that we have coming up, shall we, Sai? I mean, we've already taken a look at the calendar for NASCAR. Let's take a look at our Team America calendar as well, with events coming up as soon as August 16th, starting at Indianapolis, ending up at Road America. We head across the globe, really, from the United States back to the United States, but in between we head over to Asia, Germany, and a couple tracks, well, to be determined according to the iRacing calendar. We also have our Screen to Speed Championship starting up very soon, and that's going to start off on August 23rd at Alton Park. Virginia International is going to be next, then Lime Rock, Thruxton, Oschersleben, into Centerton, Tacubas, and then Brands Hatch. That's going to be the Indy. So we have this split up into two separate championships. We have the first half and then the second half being in the Formula V, with the first half being in the, of course, GR86 that we saw so much action in last time around. Sai, this has been an amazing event from green to checkered flag. I've had so much fun calling this one with you. How do you give your final thoughts?
Couldn't have asked for a better start to the season. It's going to be a fun championship. If this is the racing that we're going to have every single week or every single time we get out there, yeah, it's going to be a fun championship. Like I said, very different sort of way to drive a super speedway. Next track is going to be a totally different ball game. And after finishing that second track, we'll have a good idea of different sort of racing styles that you're going to have for the rest of the calendar. So after Charlotte, we'll see who wins Charlotte, and that'll give us a good idea of the strengths and weaknesses of all the drivers, and we'll take it from there. I'm really excited for Charlotte. If this is the sort of racing we're going to have, clean racing, exciting racing, yeah, count me in. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'm here for it as well. On behalf of AK Esports, on behalf of Init Esports, I've been Sagar Bakshi. Joining me in the broadcast booth has been the lovely Saiduth Ramesh, taking you from green to checkered flag as always. Have a great night, and most importantly, stay safe out there. Take care for now.
The speed. The fight. You're on your own. Not anymore with Init Esports.